Hi everybody, welcome to Sara's Side Quests. This isn't really a formal video or anything today. I just kind of wanted to give a quick update. What's been going on? Some things I'd like to see, things like that. I'm currently filming in the RV because it's Sunday and the whole family is home. So there's no peace, there's no quiet, and honestly, my bedroom is trashed. So it's really hard to find a good place to record right now in the house. So I came out to the RV and it's a little cold out here. We have it set to 59 degrees, which isn't bad. Keeping everything warm because we ended up not winterizing the RV because of the Keys trip and things like that. We probably should have come back and winterized it immediately, but we did not know it was going to be the Arctic tundra for the entire month of January. So I got the big video out from the trip, and then I broke that down into several other small reviews so that they were searchable. I'm really pleased with the traction that the big video has gotten. A little bit encouraged. We'll see where that goes. I'd like to move away from so much RV content and get into some of the other stuff that we've got going on. But honestly, right now, the RV stuff is really what's popping off, and it's what I keep getting the most content from. I just don't want to pigeonhole myself into that particular niche 100% of the time. I don't mind doing a good bit of content with it. I just don't want it to be the entire channel. It's more about the stories and things like that. I posted the first 3 videos in the Lake House, Lakeland saga. I've got the other 3 scripted. I just need to film them and clean them up and things like that. I think you're going to be really happy with how it ends. And maybe a little bit surprised. Let's see what else is there. Oh, in non-RV news, I have season tickets to Broadway Theater League, and they have Sound of Music this week, and apparently that has just been not great for them. Tuesday night's performance they had to cancel because a piece of equipment fell and hit a crew or cast member. I'm not entirely sure, but they're fine. But they did have to refund that night. Wednesday night was fine. We have Thursday night tickets, which I wasn't entirely thrilled about going because it would be the 3rd time I've seen it. And I had been peopling all week, so I really wasn't keen to leave the house. And I was trying to get S to go, but he had plans to go out with his friends that night, and so he couldn't go. So me and Jay did go out there, and it was late getting started, and we were sitting there. And I had looked at the runtime, and I'm like, man, we're going to get home awfully late. It's going to be like 11 o'clock. And about that time, they walked out and said, yeah, we can't get our sound equipment to work, and we have to cancel tonight's performance. And they were really upset about that because of refunds and things like that. And they're like, we will reschedule you for the other shows over the weekend. Which I'm like, oh, hey, this is my out. And then they ended up having to cancel Friday night's performance too because the parts didn't come in. So they only ended up having Wednesday night's performance, and then the 2 on Saturday and the 2 on Sunday. So I don't think they're doing very well. I still have to contact them about getting it situated on my account. I think I just want a credit for next year. So there's that. And then in the interest of me peopling some more, and I guess getting back into the RV content, the Alabama RV Super Show was this weekend, which I had hoped to go to the Atlanta show last weekend, but the weather and ice and snow kept us from doing that. So I was super, super excited to go to the Huntsville show, even though it was like 4 local dealers that I had been to recently. And I had to stop and let Radar in. Radar, come here. Come here. Come on, Radar. Come here. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Here's a good baby. Yes, sir. Oh, goodness, baby. Anyway, so I was really excited about the Huntsville RV show. I would like to say it was my first RV show, but I actually had been to the Huntsville or Alabama RV show. Oh man, like 15 years ago. S was very little. A neighbor and I were trying to look for interesting play dates, and she came up with going to the RV show and letting the boys go through the RVs. And we went that year. They must have been 2 or 3. So they were little. And he's 18 now. So 16 years ago, 15 years ago. So that was my first RV show, but I really didn't take it seriously because I thought RVs were stupid. But this was my first, I want to go to the RV show. We missed Tampa. We came back the week before. We went to it, and I have to say, Johnston was great. Campers Inn was amazing. Campers Inn is where we got our Grand Design, and I like being anonymous, and it's like we couldn't even walk up to the booth without 3 people going, "Oh, hi, Mr. and Mrs." I was like, oh man, they know us. But it ended up being a great time, and made me feel really good about our purchase, I guess. I did get to chit chat with a few of the people there that I really like. Hi, Josh. Hi, Grayson, if you're watching. So that was a whole thing. That was great. And then we went over to Bankston, which we've been kicking around the idea of getting a bigger RV. I know it's been only 7 months, but this last trip with the almost 3 weeks of travel and 5 people and no slides, it was very narrow in here and very small. I will give you guys, I have not cleaned up after the trip because it's been so cold and we drained all the water out of it, so I can't clean it very well. After I clean it and put things back together, I will do a walkthrough tour of it. But besides that, we've just been kicking around the idea of getting something a little bit bigger, a little bit more usable. And A is sleeping in the storage under the bunks. And I know I've mentioned this before, but it's 21 inches wide and he loves it down there. But he grew a 1/2 inch in 3 months, and I just don't know how much longer he's going to fit down there. I'm afraid he's going to get stuck or get like a cramp or something like that. But when we broached the idea of actually getting him his own sleeping space, that wasn't a couch or a dinette, because we are just not willing to do that. It's a bed or under the bunks or something, since he does have a mattress under there. He's not on board with the idea of us getting a larger RV at all. He likes what we have. He likes his hidey hole, things like that. And there's a few options out there that we can still do a hidey hole. It'd just be the size of a twin size bed. But that being said, we are looking at some Brinkleys, because Brinkley is the only company that I'm aware of that builds a better quality RV and has several family options at 35 feet or under. Our preferred brands are things like Grand Design, Alliance, and Brinkley, some Jaycos, things like that. And Grand Design keeps getting bigger. They have an influence that would work. It's under 40. Under 40 feet. And then they came out with the 26s and they're 2 feet longer. And I don't understand why we need to keep making these bigger when the national parks and a lot of other places really try to keep the RV sizes lower. And then not to mention that we got some really great spots because we were 30 feet. We got in high demand, high desirability areas that just happened to have availability because we were 30 feet or under. I really hate to lose that because it has served us so well. Grand Design and Alliance both do have units that fit the 35 and under and have bunks, but they wanted to put them in their lower end lines. And if we're going to spend the money and take the hit on the value of this one, we want it a little bit nicer. And I don't understand why family units have to be low end or lower end. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. They're fine. I mean, they are on par or even slightly better with what we have here. I am not disparaging that. I just don't understand why I can't have a solitude that has room for my 3 children and is under 35 feet. I don't know why we have to put that in the Reflection 100s and the Reflection 150s. Do like Cherokee does. Make a black label option and have the higher end things in it and make it worth me taking the hit on the sale of this unit. So Brinkley really does seem to be the only one that I can see that is kind of keeping with that. And they've got the 2810, which they've had on lots for a while, which is probably going to be what we end up getting. I like the big bunk room. It's an L-shaped design. I feel like there's a lot of wasted space in it, and I'm not a huge fan of the way the table and dining chairs is. They have the 3110, which I feel is the better layout, but it only has 2 bunks and there's no storage underneath. Well, there is storage underneath, but it's on the outside, and it's really frowned upon to put your children in the outside storage. But I love the layout of it. I love the walk-through bathroom. I like the storage slide in the master bedroom. The big downside of that one is it doesn't have washer-dryer hookup. And after the whole Margaritaville Jolly Roger thing, I think we definitely want washer-dryer hookup. So we're not doing laundry our first night in Margaritaville until 1:30 in the morning. That was a lot of laundry. They're coming... In Tampa, they debuted a new one called the 3210, which looks like it might be the best option for everybody because it's that same layout as the 3110 on the front half, but then where the bunks go, it's a Happy Jack system where it's 2 bunks that can move up and down, and there's washer dryer hookups underneath, which I kind of hate because that's a terrible location for them no matter how you cut it. I don't understand why we're not doing European style kitchens and putting them in the kitchens. Or in the bathrooms, like, I think Cedar Creek and a few other Forest River ones are putting them in the bathrooms now. I really like that layout. But that Happy Jack design with the movable bunks, you could easily have the regular bunks in bunk position and then put a twin size mattress underneath and do exactly what we did in this one. Have the size of a full bunk on the floor, and he would still have his hidey hole and stuff. The problem with that one is they have not started manufacturing it. I think they were testing the waters at Tampa, and I think they might have actually been surprised at how many people are on board with this. More about that in a few minutes. That they will start production in March from what I've heard, and they will be on lots in April. I'm trying to get information about whether or not you can go ahead and pre-order them, but every time I ask that question, whether it be to a salesperson or actually somebody who works for Brinkley, I don't get an answer, which makes me think there isn't an answer yet, which is fine. I just find it funny that every time I have asked that question, it kind of is like crickets. So back to the RV show, we go over to the Bankston area, and they got the 315 Air in while we were on the lot last Friday. And I was sure it was going to be there because it is very similar to the 2810, but with a better living layout. And Bankston didn't bring any family Brinkleys at all. They had, I think it was 5 or 6. I can name them. I'll have to put it up on the screen because I wrote it down in a comment because I went back because I was filming for B-roll and I have footage of all of them. But I know they had a 3600. They had a 3100. They had the 310 Air instead of the 315. They had an I and an IX. And I can't remember which model numbers they were. I think it was an I-297 and an IX-23X. I'm almost positive that's all of them. So IX-23X, which is a travel trailer. They had I-297, which was a travel trailer. They had the Z310 Air, which is also a travel trailer. But those are very similar to the Z Series fifth wheels, just as a travel trailer. And then they had the 2 couples ones. The fifth wheels was the Z3100 and the Z3600. And the 3600 had the automotive paint. So it was really sharp, yet really expensive. And you could tell that Bankston really isn't looking to serve families. They are definitely sweating the senior crowd, which I think might be not a great long-term goal. them bringing only couples rigs for Brinkley's. I will say almost all of the units they brought to the show were couples rigs. From the Class A's, the Class C's, the travel trailers, the fifth wheels. Most of them were couples. There were a few outliers as far as that had bunks. I know several of the vendors they brought had bunk rooms, but it was very few. They may have had a couple Wildwoods that I remember too. I'll have to go back through and double check, but there was not a lot. They are not serving families. And we walked past the bag pushers at the beginning, you know, the greeters, they hand out the bags and things like that at the beginning. We walked past them 4 or 5 times, got completely ignored. We walked up and down that Brinkley aisle at least 7 times over the course of like 2 hours. We went and sat inside of one of the Brinkleys. I think we sat inside of the Z 3600 for a while, kind of comparing, contrasting, and we were comparing it against some of the grand designs that we'd seen at the Campers Inn group. I would start to talk to Bankston salespeople in the aisles, and if they acknowledged me at all, it was a smile and moved on. It was really weird, but I mean, if you had gray hair and looked like you were retired, they were all over you. I don't understand why the RV industry as a whole is kind of ignoring my market. There's a lot of us out there, guys. There's a lot of us. I'm talking to people in Grand Design Facebook groups. I'm talking to people in Brinkley Facebook groups. Several of us have been instant messaging together. There is a segment of us, I don't know how big we are, but it cannot be an insignificant amount, that want a smaller, luxury, well-built fifth wheel for families. We don't want 42, 43 feet. We want 35, 36 feet. We want room to sleep 3 kids. We want nicer finishes. We want corners that actually match up, and we want well built and well insulated. And I feel solely focusing on your retirement crowd is you're missing some money. You're leaving it on the table. This is not one brand. This is an industry thing. And I think the only people who are even beginning to listen is Brinkley. We'll see where it goes. I would love to sit down with somebody in Grand Design. I would love to stay in the Grand Design ecosystem. I would love to stay with my dealer here at Campers Inn. There's a lot of us out there. I'm just saying there's a lot of us out there. We had our kids later. We have a little bit more disposable incomes. We're not quite retirement age, but we're getting close. Build stuff for us now and you'll have us later. This late 40s, mid 50s group is up and coming, and I think it's a mistake to ignore that. Radar is very on to seeing why the dogs are barking. So he's climbing on the couch and stuff right now. But that's about it. So I basically, we went to the RV show. We got great service at Campers Inn. Bankston was a huge miss. Great American RV only brought Airstreams, and I'm not sure why they didn't bring any of their Jaycos, but you know, you do you, boo. I went in so excited and went out so mad because the only person in the Bankston area that talked to us was the Wildwood rep, and it took all my self-control not to be snarky to him, and he was legitimately nice to us. But we were in one of the Heritage Elites, which is the one that was the Roost 43, where Jay got the Splinter, and he was like, you know, I work on the line. If there's any questions I can answer, please let me know. And it almost came out of my mouth of, do you have sandpaper? Do you know how to use it? And I was so glad that I didn't, because he was so nice and so sweet and did not deserve my snark. But I was already frustrated at that point, and it was all my self-control, and I'm so glad I was not mean to him, or snarky to him, because he literally was the only person who talked to us in that entire area, and they were the biggest distributor at the show. I ended up getting on the Brinkley group, Facebook group that I'm in, and going, are there any reps here? Because I have seen reps from Ember. I have seen them from Wildwood. I have seen them from Keystone. I've seen them from Intech. I'm fairly certain there's a Grand Design rep over at Campers Inn. Where's the Brinkley rep? And they finally got back with me later that night and said, yeah, they got delayed. They'll be there Saturday and Sunday. Well, now my husband will not, he won't go back to the RV show. He will not go back up there. Bankston's dead to him. The sales director for Bankston did email me or message me through Facebook and she probably saw my post in the Brinkley group and was like, can I help? And I was like, look, thanks for reaching out, but you guys are dead to my husband now. This was the third time that we've tried to work with you guys, and I don't think you're interested in what we have to say. And it just ties back to the recurring theme of the lake house land thing is, why won't you take my money? Which is frustrating because it's like we've saved for these things and we just keep hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And it's like, okay, fine. It's not meant to be blah, 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 blah. So that's where we are with that. We ended up not going back to the RV show. I don't think we will go today. I've had a couple people reach out to me about Brinkley. We'll see where that goes. Like I said, I'm not even positive that that's what we're going to do. We may keep what we have for a while because that's the smart thing to do. That's the financially responsible thing to do. Because I am really happy with what we have. I feel like the Grand Design 24 BHX, it's in the Transcend Explorer line. I feel it's very well built. It's an excellent price point. If you want to talk entry-level RVs, I cannot recommend it enough. We are just it is not built for 5 people. It is built for 4 people. And that is where we are running into problems. But that really is my only complaint. I can't say enough good things about it. But so much for me getting away from RV content. Apparently I'm going to keep coming back to it. And that's what it's going to be for a while. There are a few other things going on, things with the S's graduation, things with traveling, things with family, but it's like that's not stuff I can really talk about right now. For privacy reasons, for it's not my business reasons, or it's not my story reasons. But I hope you'll stick around and see what I come up with. If you're interested, like and subscribe. I would love to have a few more subscribers because I talk to people and I'm like, hey, I've got this YouTube channel. And they're like, oh, how big are you? And I'm like, oh, I have 20 subscribers. And I'm very thrilled to have 20 subscribers. It's just when other people hear that, they're like, oh. Which ultimately, I don't care because I do this because I enjoy it. I think I'm funny, so that's really all that matters. If you think I'm absolutely ridiculous, don't like or subscribe, just go on. Please don't dislike it. But otherwise, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Oh, hey, by the way, quick update. About 5 days after I made the video that said that my phone was working fine, except for the USB port, and I couldn't get it to charge, and I couldn't get my mics to work, it started working. Maybe I just put it out in the universe that, hey, I can't afford a new phone right now. So, it's working. Yay!